Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Valentina and this is my first video on YouTube after like a year. I think I posted one last year, but I haven't been consistent. But this is my first official YouTube video and I will be consistently posting on YouTube forever. Today I wanted to talk about derealization and depersonalization and what it feels to have that, medication, therapy, what I experienced, tips on how to deal with it, and a lot of stuff like that. So let's get into the video. Depersonalization and derealization disorder involves a persistent or recurring feeling of being detached from one's body or mental processes. Okay, here it also says that depersonalization symptoms include feeling detached from one's body, mind, feelings, and or sensations. And then derealization symptoms include feeling detached from their surroundings. Examples, people, objects, everything, which seems unreal. So they're basically mental illnesses that make you feel unreal and makes your like outside, like the world, feel unreal. And that's exactly what I experienced for about 2.5 years, like severely, like it was really bad. Progressively got better, and now I still deal with it here and there, but it's not nearly as bad as I experienced it about 3 years ago. It also says here that episodes can be triggered by depression, stress, anxiety, drugs like marijuana, and then it says other drugs as well. But I emphasize the marijuana because that's how mine was caused. I had a weed-induced derealization / depersonalization. To make this story short and not too long, back in 2017, April 20th, I had experienced a bad trip on an edible, and then my second was May 7th, and after that day, I experienced derealization for years. I still deal with it, but it's not as bad. While I was going through those bad trips, I experienced my first panic attack. I was super pale, I was shaking, I was sweating, everything around me felt so weird, and it was really bad. Obviously I was high. Coming out of the highness and like obviously the marijuana leaving my system, I would still feel that kind of like highness, and like I felt like anxious and stuff. And I never experienced anxiety before that, never had a panic attack in my life before that, so it was a weird feeling for me. And that's when I actually self-diagnosed myself at first, because I didn't want to tell my parents that it was because of weed that I was experiencing anxiety and all these things. So I did my own research. I went online and I searched up YouTube videos, or I feel this and this, what can it be? And it always pointed to derealization and depersonalization. And I say both because I experienced both. I felt like the world wasn't real, and I felt like I wasn't real. So I experienced both. And so long story short, I ended up telling my parents like about 8 months to 9 months later. They took me to therapy. Therapy helped me a lot. I'm also Christian, so going to church also helped me. Getting closer to God helped me as well. I never took medication. I never went to a psychiatrist, because as I did go to a psychologist, and they diagnosed me there with like 7 mental illnesses, 2 of them being derealization and depersonalization. They told me that for those type of mental illnesses, they would have to be treated with like medication and going to a psychiatrist. But personally, I never wanted to depend on a drug, on medication to make me feel better. I took the decision on my own to just not take medication whatsoever, and I never did. I was scared that I was gonna either 1, depend on it, or 2, just make it worse for me. And I've also heard stories that medication can also help you, but it can also make it worse. So I just didn't want to take the risk. Another way for you guys to understand what derealization feels like and what it is, it's really like I said, it feels like life isn't real. It feels like you're unreal, but it feels like you're in a dream state of mind, like 24/7. I experienced it 24/7 for about 2.5 years, which was literally a living hell. But obviously there are some techniques and like grounding exercises and just things that I would do to make me feel better, and I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, the best way to explain it, it's like you're in a dream. It's very dreamlike. I would literally wake up in the mornings and I would still feel like I was dreaming, because I literally felt like I was in a dream. Like it feels really foggy, cloudy like. So like there's like a glass door, glass wall, like standing before you, and like you can't connect to people, you can't connect to the world, because it feels really like disconnected. You feel really like out of body. Like it's a weird experience, and for me it was really scary. I would literally have to wake up every morning and tell myself, you're okay, you're not dreaming, you're alive, you're awake. So it was constantly like going back and forth, like with my mind, telling it, like me having to say it out loud. I had to constantly reassure myself and say those things out loud for me to kind of convince myself that it was real, that I was real, that life is real, because I literally dealt with the most severe, like it was just really bad. It's basically a chemical imbalance in your brain, and obviously it's not gonna just go away like this. You're not gonna get better in like a flash. Some people do. Some people experience it for a couple days, even for a couple minutes, but some people like me, I experienced it for years. So here's some tips and things that I did while I was going through it really bad that helped me get out of it slowly, and just would help me stay active and not depressed or be anxious, or slowly get rid of the panic attacks. What I would do is, like I said, I would reassure myself out loud. So don't be scared to tell yourself you're gonna be okay, you're awake, you're not dreaming, this is real. Like, reassure yourself every single day that this is real, that you're real. That helped me a lot when I was going through panic attacks and anxiety attacks, because I used to deal with panic attacks all the time when I was going through it. I at least had 10 panic attacks a day, and I would obviously keep count because I wanted to see my progress. So the worst, when I was at my worst, I dealt with like 10 panic attacks a day, and I had to like obviously learn how to cope with it and do things, grounding, exercising, listening to music to make myself feel better. So while I was going through those panic attacks and those really bad episodes of derealization, I would just listen to music. I would also do a breathing exercise, which is you breathe in through your nose and then you breathe out through your mouth. And I would do that constantly until my panic attacks and my anxiety would just go down and down and down. And yeah, I would still feel the derealization. It was not going away from me, but the feeling of panic and the feeling of anxiety would go away. And back to the music, I would specifically listen to worship music or just calming music. If you're not Christian, you can just listen to something calming, like something that would calm your soul, your body, and not just giving more anxiety, and not kind of like hyped up music, because I think that would give you more anxiety. So I think more of like a calming, slow music would help me a lot. I would grab ice. I know it's weird, but I would grab ice whenever I was going through a panic attack or anxiety attack. I would grab ice, go to the kitchen, grab ice, sit down wherever I was at, and I would feel like I would just let myself feel cold. I would just slowly calm down, and it would feel real. Like I would feel the burning of the ice in my hands. And if I was cold, I would do the opposite. So I would take a hot shower, I would go outside, I would go to the gym to like sweat it off, go to dance, do something to make myself feel hot and feel like sweaty. Another thing that would help me a lot was hanging out with friends, distracting myself, going to the gym, like I said, going out dancing, doing stuff that would distract my mind from the derealization and depersonalization. So the more you give it attention, the worse it's gonna get. The more I get anxious about it, like, oh my gosh, when is this gonna go away? Why do I feel like this? This is horrible. You're telling yourself that you're crazy, which that's not true. You're not crazy. You're constantly bringing yourself down. You're just doing things that aren't helping it. You're gonna make the derealization and depersonalization stay in your body more than it already has to be there. So for it to go away, you literally have to ignore it. And I know that's really hard and kind of like, okay, like that's impossible to do, but it's really possible. Like, you just have to distract yourself. You have to, when you're feeling really scared, you just have to remind yourself that it's not permanent, because it's not. And I'm not telling you this to make you feel better. It's not permanent. It will eventually go away, whether it's in a couple days, in a couple minutes, hours, months, years. I don't know how long it'll take for you, but I promise you it'll go away. Yes, I still deal with it, and yes, I still experience it, but it's not a 24/7 thing for me. I don't experience it for 24 hours and 7 days a week type of thing. I experience it sometimes when I feel anxious, when I'm feeling stressed. Those are symptoms of derealization, and that's what can cause derealization. So when I feel stressed and stuff, I know how to like calm myself down, and like I don't want it to get to the point where I'm dealing with it 24/7 again, you know? If you clicked on this video and you're dealing with it, take every advice that I'm giving you inside and just really think about it whenever you're going through it. You can even write it down, read a book, I don't know, do something that you like. Go and find other hobbies to do, something that you're passionate about. Just really distract yourself, and slowly that chemical imbalance in your brain will obviously balance up again, and you'll be fine. I promise you, it's not permanent. It's gonna go away. It's not a permanent mental illness. It will go away. It's literally just a bunch of anxiety built up in your body, and the way that I want to protect it, it's by bringing up this thing called derealization and depersonalization to protect your body from any outside danger. But it's not helpful at all. It's really, really scary. The less anxious you are and the less attention you bring it and give it, you're gonna get better. You're gonna see progress. You're gonna see that, oh, I'm not having 10 panic attacks a day, I'm having 3. And even then, you should celebrate it. You should feel good about yourself and feel like I am making progress, because that is a huge progress. I went from having 10 panic attacks a day to having 5 to having 3 to having 1 to then having 0. And obviously one day I woke up and I was like, wow, like I haven't had a panic attack in like a month. One day I just stopped giving it attention and stopped being anxious about it that I really realized I was like, wow, like I've been good, like I've been doing good. I haven't had a panic attack in forever. I know a lot of you guys have been DMing me, and even like on Instagram, TikTok, wherever it may be, Twitter, you guys tell me, oh, like I feel crazy, am I crazy, can you please help me? And no, you're not crazy. I mentioned it earlier, but you're not crazy. This isn't something that makes you like different, or like, oh, you're crazy and you're different than others, or you know, yeah, obviously it makes you different because you're experiencing things that not everyone experiences, but that doesn't mean that you're crazy. You're not going insane, you're not psychotic, you're not meant to be like, you know, put down, or you shouldn't be putting yourself down for it either. The reason why I want to do videos and bring more awareness to it is because there is a name for it. There is a name for the feeling of feeling unreal, the feeling of being in a dream, the feeling of not being like attached to your body, of being detached from the world. There is a name for it, and it's derealization and depersonalization. And I feel like if I bring awareness to it, it'll help a lot of people, and I hope I'll be able to help a lot more people than I have already. Don't be scared of it. If anything, you should embrace it, and just be like, okay, you're trying to destroy me, I'm not gonna let you destroy me, you know? You're gonna sit in my body, my brain, as long as you want, but I'm not gonna give it attention. I'm not gonna be scared of you, because I know this isn't permanent. I know this is gonna go away, and I know you're making me feel really anxious. I know you're making me feel like like my world is ending, like I can't feel anything, but it's gonna go away. And you have to literally treat it like you're the boss. Like you have to be like the boss of it, and you have to be like, no, you're not gonna do this to me today. No, I don't want to feel anxiety. No, I don't want to do this. Literally say that out loud if you have to. Like you have to remind yourself that you're strong enough to get past this, because you are strong enough to get past it. Like trust me, you're stronger than you think. And I've been through so many things in my life that I'm a living testimony of that. Like you're literally stronger than you think, and things that you're going through right now, whether it's this, whether it's depression, anxiety, PTSD, whatever it is, you're gonna get through it. It's possible, trust me. Okay, so I had asked you guys to ask me questions on Instagram on derealization and depersonalization and what you guys wanted to know. So I'm going to be answering some of those questions right now. So one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, do I still smoke? And if I smoked since the incident happened 4 years ago. And the answer is no. I haven't smoked, I haven't drank, I haven't done anything since those incidents happened. One, because I'm traumatized, literally gave me PTSD. I am traumatized from it. So I personally would not ever try weed again. I would not drink again, because I did try drinking twice after my incidents, because since my derealization was triggered by weed, I thought, okay, if it was triggered by weed, then maybe alcohol wouldn't be bad. Like, you know, I didn't really think anything of it. But I did try drinking with friends one time. It was like a couple months after I experienced derealization for the first time. I tried drinking, and it literally made my derealization worse. It made me feel more unreal. It made me feel like crap, and I don't want to experience that again. So for the sake of myself, and just because I'm traumatized, and I'd rather be safe than sorry, because I don't want to experience that again, I don't drink or smoke, and I will never do it again. So one of the questions I got was, have I been around weed ever since? And yes, I've been around it. Obviously I can't avoid it. There's people that smoke weed all the time. Even living in Miami, like I was like constantly like just I would go to parties and stuff, and I would see people like smoke, and people would smoke right next to me. And then slowly I stopped going to parties because I didn't like the smell of weed, because it would literally give me a panic attack. Like even the smell of weed would give me anxiety, so I just didn't want to be around it. And even living here in California now, Jaco and I always stay in, so we really don't go out anymore. But obviously even if we're driving around, it's legal here, so I can't stay away from it. I do smell it a lot, and obviously people smoke it a lot more here in California, and it does give me anxiety, but it doesn't affect me as much as it did before. Plus I have Jaco, and he always like, you know, tries to help me out. If I smell and he sees that I'm getting a little bit anxious, like he'll help me, he'll like kind of just be there for me, which I think is amazing. But some of my triggers are loud music, like just loud noise music, crowds of people, and lots of bright light. Because when I was going through the bad trip on 4/20 that day, and on May 7th of 2017, I was around loud music, loud noises, I was around a lot of people, and a lot of light. So getting out of those bad trips and then experiencing derealization, those were the main 3 triggers, because they were the ones that I was around all of that day. So those were the ones that were really like were always like so scary to me, because it would bring me back to the moment that I was dealing with it. one. And two, it's not good for people with derealization and depersonalization to even be in that type of like environment, like lots of people, loud music, and like lots of bright light, because it's like it just triggers it. I know a lot of people that those were the kind of the same triggers for them as well, even without it being weed. To this day I still like deal with it sometimes, but again, like I said, it's not as bad, and I know how to calm myself down, and I just know how I go out in the sun more. I try to calm myself down if there's a lot of people, because I know nothing's gonna happen to me. I know nothing is wrong, but obviously since in me I still have a little bit of like trauma inside me because of those days, I still deal with it here and there. Like sometimes I'll be around a lot of people and light and music and noises and I'll be fine, but there's other times where it'll kind of trigger me still. So someone asked the type of thoughts you had, or if it made you see the world or yourself differently. So the first one, I've never really heard people talk about this, because it's kind of like, oh, people are gonna think I'm crazy, people are gonna think that I was going insane. But when I was going through derealization really bad for the first 2.5 years, like I said, I had a lot of horrible thoughts come to mind. And I'm not talking about, oh, the world isn't real, like I'm not talking about like, you know, thoughts that I was saying before, because it does make you feel like that. But there's times where you yourself convince yourself that you're so unreal, like you're not real and life isn't real at all, that you feel like you're unstoppable, and you feel like if you do anything, nothing's going to happen to you. And it's part of the mental illness that it makes you feel so unreal that you want to do things that are crazy. Like there was one time where I was in a car, and this happened to me a lot of times in cars. In the beginning, I would just want to just open the door and just get out. Like I would literally have a feeling like, and like a little like thought in my head, and like just something telling me to just jump, because I felt like I was unstoppable, like and nothing was gonna happen to me. So I literally wanted to open the door so bad and just jump out, and I felt my body wanting to, but it was like a constant battle between the Valentina that was inside me that knew what was real, and that telling me, reminding me, girl, this is real, like you're it's just a mental illness, like, you know. And then the other side of me that was like, no, like this life isn't real, you're not real, you know. Constant battle between that and that. I knew better, even though I didn't feel like it, if that makes sense. Another time where I was in college, and I went, and just to touch on the subject on college, yes, I did go to college for a year. I stopped going because of all the reasons that I would get triggered, which was lots of people, loud music, loud noises, and bright lights, and that's literally all you experience in college. I couldn't focus in class because I was always looking around, hella like paranoid and anxious, because it was just not a good environment for me. So I kind of stopped going. I then eventually a year passed by, then 2 years passed by, and then I dropped out. I guess you can say I dropped out of college. I was in college one day, and I was waiting for my class to start, and I was in like the 3rd floor, I think it was. I was outside. There's like a balcony, like there was like a stairway outside, so we literally had a stairway outside, and you can like look over, and it was outside. So I looked over and down, and now my brain was telling me jump, and I was like, girl, I told myself to stop, but then my brain was like, you're unstoppable, nothing is real, just jump. And I wanted to jump so bad, but it was because I felt so unreal and so unstoppable that I wanted to do it so bad. But yeah, I had a lot of those times where I felt so unstoppable and unreal that I wanted to do horrible things like that to myself, because I felt like I was in a dream and I can do whatever I want and nothing will happen to me. Nothing is gonna happen if I jump out of a car, if I jump out of a building. Like it was really bad, and it took a lot of like stopping for a second, realizing, okay, should I really do it? Like, is this what I want to do? Or yeah, it was just a lot, and it was really bad. Someone said, I feel like I can enjoy myself around others because I don't feel like I'm actually there. So when I first started dealing with it and I was around a lot of people, I felt horrible, because I would literally have a conversation with you, and in the middle of you and I talking, I would have to stop you and be like, what were we just talking about? I would forget like this. And it's not like we would take a little break and we would come back to the conversation and I would ask you, like, no, we would be in the middle of conversation and I would have to ask you, what are we talking about? And what I forgot to mention earlier is that derealization also comes with memory loss, and I had a lot of memory loss during that time. I would have a day go by and I would wake up the next day and I would have to be like, what did I do yesterday? Or like, what did I do last night? Or like, what did I do this morning? Like, I would forget everything, and it was so bad because I wanted to remember so much, and I wanted to be around people so much, and I wanted to talk to people, because before that I was such a social butterfly. I was always talking to a lot of people, but dealing with derealization kind of made me an introvert, and I always kept to myself, always kept to like my close friends and my family, and I just never wanted to make new friends or even talk to people because of that reason. Whoever told me that, I feel like you should be around people, you should take yourself out of your comfort zone, because that's something that helped me a lot. I would have to be around a lot of people, being in college, dealing with it for like a couple months, and then also being in a dance studio. Like, I was a dance teacher, so I'd have to be around a lot of kids, and kind of making yourself and your brain feel like, okay, this isn't bad. Like, being around people isn't bad. Like, you have to get out of your comfort zone, because if you're constantly by yourself in your room, it's going to be your comfort zone, which it was my comfort zone for a while. My room, I never left the house. I tried to leave the house like as little as possible, only when I had to. But when I didn't, I would always just stay in my room. I wouldn't talk to my family, I wouldn't talk to anyone, because I was so in like, I was just in a really bad state of mind that I wanted to stay in my room, and I felt like that's the only way I'd feel safe, was in my room. But I saw that the more I got out, the more I distracted myself, the more I talked to more people and made new friends, it would help me. Because yeah, I felt bad in those situations, and I would feel left out. And like the person said, he didn't feel like he was actually there, but it slowly, you start feeling normal again. You start feeling like, okay, like, you know, I can do this. I can talk to people. Like, I feel more like I'm here, like more present. Okay, someone did ask me, do you drink coffee? And no, I don't drink coffee, because it does have caffeine, and caffeine gives you the jitters, and I have anxiety, so I just don't drink coffee. Because I tried drinking coffee once or like twice or something, and nothing happened. Like, I was feeling a little anxious, but it's just kind of like, again, I don't want to like spark up the anxiety and the derealization in that again. So I just try to play it safe. I stay away from drinking, from weed, and from coffee. Those are the 3 things I do not do, and I won't do. Like, I'm fine without them. Like, I've been completely fine without them for 4 years, and I will be completely fine without it for my life. Like, it's okay. So for me and my safetyness and my brain, I just don't risk it. I know some people that do drink and that do drink coffee and do things that you're really not supposed to do while you have derealization and stuff, but it doesn't affect them. So it just depends on you and like how your mindset is during those times. So the last thing I want to tell you guys is that do not listen to people. Do not listen to what they have to say to you. Don't listen to when they say something negative about you, that you're crazy, that you're never going to be cured, or what are you talking about? That's not real. Like, that mental illness is made up. Like, no, it's a real thing. People deal with it on a daily basis. It's an actual thing. And there are solutions for it. You can go to therapy, you can take medication if you're comfortable with it. You can do a lot of things to make yourself better, like going out, talking to people, talking to friends. Like I said, going to therapy, talking about it with your church. If you go to a church, talking about it with your mentors or whoever it may be, just talk about it. Just even talking about it can make it can make you feel better, but you have to be careful, because if you obsess over it, and like I said, if you give it more attention, it's just gonna stay longer than it should. Of course, it's good to talk about it and let it out, and talk about why you're traumatized, how it happened, to people, to your friends, like I said. But be careful to how much you talk about it, how much you obsess over it. By that I mean how long it's gonna take for you to get rid of it, if it's gonna even go away. Is medication gonna work? Is therapy gonna work? I need it to go away right now. Like, you can't do that, because if you do that, it's going to stay longer. So you just have to, like I said, trust in the fact that it's going to get better, and it's going to be fully away from your body eventually, whether it be today, tomorrow, months from now, wherever it may be, but it'll go away. Also, don't forget that you're so much stronger than you think. You can literally get through everything you set your mind to. Even if you're feeling derealization, you feel like life isn't real, it's going to go away eventually. I'll be posting a lot more consistently on this channel. I'll be posting on here, on TikTok and Instagram, but I'll make sure to post a lot more on here about depression, anxiety, panic attacks, PTSD, trauma, about everything you can think of. This channel is going to be mainly about helping you guys and helping people that are dealing with things that I've dealt with, and I'm still dealing with these things. Don't think that I'm giving you this advice because I'm perfectly fine and I haven't been through any of these things in a while. No, I still deal with it, and I'm still working on things on like my anxiety and my derealization, but I want to help. Even though I'm going through things, I want to be able to give you advice that's been helping me and that has made me feel better. So thank you guys for watching my first YouTube video after a while. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and constantly showing me so much love on the internet. I love you guys. Subscribe if you like this video. Subscribe if you just want to see more of these videos or vlogs or any fashion or dance videos. You guys can suggest anything down below in the comments. But yeah, I love you guys. Be safe. You guys are strong. You guys are loved, and you guys are cared for. I love you guys so much. Bye.